I'm waiting for the Malibu Stacy movie to come out, along with
what? That's a good you know what? We need an itchy and scratchy movie, right? Like an actual real movie,
fantastic.
Right? No! Hidely ho, neighborinos. Welcome to another episode of the Scary Movie Project, the podcast where we talk about scary movies. And if I'm your host, Matt, and if you got that reference, you know that's Ned Flanders. And today we're going to kind of go off the rails. We're not talking about scary movies. We're talking about the entirety of the Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. I've wanted to do this for a long time. Simpsons is one of the greatest shows ever, obviously. And I've wanted to do this for a long time, 30 some odd episodes. So I have my new friend Jonny Pechous here with me, who is the host of the D'oh Show. Jonny, say hi. Tell everybody what you do.
Hello. I am the host of the D'oh Show. It is a Simpsons-ish podcast. So that means we talk about the Simpsons and sometimes we don't. That's about the best way I could put it. We don't have the attention span to just stick on one thing. So yeah, we decided to just lean into that. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. I love the Treehouse episodes. Obviously, they're very iconic. And it fits very well with the Scary Movie Project. But, I'm just going to be honest with you right off the top. I don't like scary movies very much.
That's okay. That's okay. We're just going to laugh at Simpsons Treehouse of Horror episode today. That's all right.
The reason I know so much about scary movies and like horror movies and stuff from the past is because of the Treehouse of Horror episodes.
Awesome. I love it. That's great.
I have found a couple scary movies that I was like, that was a good movie. Other times I'm like, I am
not so much.
I just don't like being scared.
So what are the ones you found that you like? What are the ones that you do like?
I can't think of like too many off the top of my head.
You know what? Maybe when we go over the episodes, you'll remember one. How about that?
Probably. It'll probably pop up randomly.
There you go. All right. So 34 episodes. Wow. Right. 34 is 30. Yeah. Holy crap.
30 something.
Yeah, I think so. So, all right. First episode, 1990, but it was season 2. It wasn't season 1 of The Simpsons, right?
Yes.
So that was the very first one. It actually happens in the treehouse, and it's 3 stories Bart and Lisa tell each other after trick-or-treating, and Homer's kind of like spying outside the treehouse, right?
Yes.
And it's what's the evil house? It's a spoof on the Amityville Horror. I can't remember the actual titles. Then the next one is the one about where they get kidnapped and by the aliens and they learn to eat.
Yeah.
How to cook for human. We can get to that one. You know, I think I might have them written down. I want to be able to be accurate on these, right? Oh, Bad Dream House, Hungry Are the Damned. And then they read The Raven, the actual story by Edgar Allan Poe, which is awesome because James Earl Jones is in there and does the voice in there. That's a really good episode. So that
is a fantastic episode. Yeah. I actually just watched all of those just about an hour ago.
Nice.
And
good.
Man, it's not something that's not like, well, I mean, I'm sure there are people in the world that are like this, but it's not like I go around reading The Raven like every couple months.
Yeah.
So when you hear it and you hear it in his voice, and then the way that the Simpsons played back and forth from the narrator to Homer,
yes,
it's just incredible.
Yep. So we did a reading of it for a bonus episode years ago, and that's really where, you know what, I was inspired by that, and I have to wonder how much popularity did the Raven gain after being on The Simpsons. You know what I'm saying? Like that must have sparked it. I mean, it must have been amazing. I imagine that's where I really heard it. So that's
Edgar
a pretty
Allan
cool
Poe's
thing.
just lining his pockets from The Simpsons.
That's right. He's thrilled about it.
Yeah. One thing I thought though, when like listening to The Raven, I was like, man, I really wish the Beastie Boys would have done this at one point. Like hearing the Beastie Boys do The Raven just because of the rhyming pattern in it.
I never even thought about them doing something like that. That's amazing. Wow.
I could totally picture it, them saying like all coming in on a rapping on my chamber door.
And then just dropping in, a mixed master mic line or something in there and just spinning or something like that. Sadly, we'll never get that.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Too bad, but that is an amazing idea. Now it's going to be rattling in my head for weeks. So thank you for that. Maybe AI, an AI tool somewhere can give us that,
Ooh, we are in the age of AI. I'm going to have to look into that. I'm going to write that down.
I heard a Frank Sinatra thing doing like an Ice Cube rap the other day. It's pretty good, so...
I heard Patrick Starr singing Big Iron by Marty Robbins.
See, I'm telling you, man, they're doing these things and they sound hilarious.
Yeah.
So yeah, this first episode I thought was great. The Hungry Are the Damned is hilarious because it's the one where they find the book, and he comes back with how to cook humans. Wait,
Yeah.
And I talk. There's space dust on this book, and how to cook 4 humans. Wait, there's no more space, and they go back and forth. How to cook 440 humans.
A fun thing about that episode too is that was the origin or the first time you see Kang and Kodos.
Yes,
but there was
Kang
a third.
And Kodos.
Yeah, there was a third alien, and his name was
Sirach the Preparer. Yes,
yeah. It's like you made Sirach the Preparer cry.
Yes. And is that the one where they tell him how to? It's amazing they all speak English. But as an amazing coincidence, we're speaking around Jillian, but it's amazing. It sounds just like English.
Yeah, it is. This language is exactly the same as English.
Oh my god! And
I do have a fun trivia question.
Trivia
question from the first Treehouse episode.
All right,
or just the Treehouse episodes in general. What was the first death in a Treehouse episode?
God. Okay. So the first episode is the Bad Dream House, the Amityville spoof, right? That's the very first one, isn't it? Okay. So I'm trying to think. Does anyone even die? Is anyone even die in the first season? In the first episode? I don't.
Yes and no.
Oh man, I'm trying to think. Okay.
Anyone? No. Anything?
Oh,
yes.
I'm blanking. I don't know it.
So the first death in the Treehouse series, or if that's what you want to call it, is the house of Bad Dream House.
Oh, okay. Where it implodes on itself. And he says life with the Simpsons, so I don't know about that. And they decide he's just going to die. Yes. I like it. That's a good one. That makes you think. Okay.
What does Lisa say? Like, rather destroy itself than live with us. Can't help but seem or feel a little rejected.
And at the end of the whole episode, they're like, Homer's totally freaked out, and he ends up having to all the kids like crawl into bed with him, right, or something. Isn't that what happens? And they all are freaked out afterwards.
That I can't remember. I watched a couple episodes today, and that was in at least 2 of them. I want to say
it's in a couple of them, right?
Yeah,
Homer gets all freaked out. So yeah, that was a good like first episode, right? So I think, and then a lot of them is we move on to some like a lot of what am I trying to say here? Twilight Zone spoofs, right? So one of the ones I love is Terror at 5.5 feet, the one on the bus.
Oh,
which is the spoof of Terror at 20,000 feet with the gremlin on the monster on the wing, where Bart is riding the bus and he sees the monster. That's a good one because there are some funny moments in there where, like, Principal Skinner's riding the bus at one point, and he comes back the line and he says, "I heard a child is using his imagination back here, and I've come to put a stop to it."
Oh, I like when he's like, "Yes, Bart, I'm riding the bus because mother took my key, hid my keys because I was talking to a female on the phone.
She was right to do it.
She was right to do it."
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that one is funny, and they act like he's all crazy. And they put him in the straitjacket at the end of it. Yeah, so that's a spoof on that Terror at 20,000 feet Twilight Zone, and that one, early ones, like the second season, is like the monkey's paw.
Yeah, the monkey paw. Yeah,
that's a spoof on a million things, right?
A million things, yeah.
Right.
We actually, when we talked about it on the podcast, we came up with a phrase called monkey pod. And it's like if something good happens, but then it always has that like negative like background to it. It's like, got monkey pod.
You got monkey paw. I like that.
Like I saw $20 on the ground, went to go pick it up. It was had a bunch of poop in it and got monkey pod,
So I think it's like the first, I don't know, maybe first 6 or 7 seasons, I guess. I don't know, or maybe my favorites, right? So I'm not going to go like season by season, but so my favorites, I guess, during those first 10 or so. So The Shinning is hilarious, right? Because I love The Shining. Bart Simpson's Dracula is one of my favorite because I love Bram Stoker's Dracula. Those are great. And then I mean, just some the whole Mega Man is a good one. I mean that's the common theme, right? These are all spoofs on movies that are all spoofs on these, Twilight Zone episodes or just famous stories or whatever.
Yeah, just old classic movies, stuff like that.
Exactly, old EC comics and things like that. So The Shinning is some hilarious stuff, right? Because that's the one.
Don't
where
you mean The Shining?
You want to get sued?
You want to get sued?
So I love the when they're walking through the hotel and Mr. Burns is talking about how, yes, we've had plenty of Indian attacks and we've had 3 Christmas, or he tells them all things that have happened. and 3 John Denver Christmas specials.
John Denver. I actually like John Denver. It's one of my
hey man, country roads, right?
Yeah,
you can't beat it.
It's one of my not hidden. What am I trying to say? Guilty pleasures. Because like sometimes get a couple drinks in me, I'm throwing John Denver on the jukebox.
There's nothing wrong with John Denver. I mean, Mr. Burns makes fun of him, Homer makes fun of him, but that's all right.
Yeah.
And so I love that episode where that's the one where he tells them they cut the cable and they bring all the beer with them. And he says they leave, and he says, "Well, tell you what, if they're all slaughtered when we get back, I owe you a Coke."
I owe you a Coke. Sir, and then maybe this is why they all go crazy.
Right. And he's sitting there flipping, nothing to watch on TV. Cable's out. I'll have a beer. No, I'm not a drop in the house. What do you know? And she's like, "You're taking this pre. I'll kill you. I'll kill you." And then he I guess he just walks away, and she's like, "Is Dad going to kill us? We're just gonna have to wait and see."
That one has so many good, like, memorable lines in it.
It's so great because it does such a good job of spoofing the movie. I was thinking along the lines of no TV and no beer makes Homer something and go crazy.
Yeah. Makes Homer something go crazy. Don't mind if I do.
And then they lock him up in the walk-in, just like in the movie. And Homer, it's Mo. Homer, me and the ghouls was thinking, you got to do your job. And he comes out. It's like a Count Dracula and Frankenstein are all there.
Yeah, werewolf, mummy, like all the classic ones.
Yes.
Like we're worried that the project ain't moving along as fast as we would like it to move along.
And then of course Mo's the bartender. Yeah, no, I'm very happy. I love being a ghost. La di la di la. Now go kill your family.
Yeah. Go waste your family. I'll give you a beer.
Mm-hmm. And then at the end, when he chops through the door like Jack Nicholson's character, and he has to keep doing it over and over again. He does this. I'm Morley Safer. I'm Ed Wallace. I'm Ed Bradley. This is hi Ed. I'm Grandpa.
All this in my Andy Rooney. This is 60 Minutes.
On 60 Minutes. Yep. And that was hilarious. And then he finally gets through at the end, and then of course they're all sitting there at the end. And he tells them, come. He finds a little mini TV, and come, family, sit next to me. And then they're sitting there and they freeze to death, just like at the end. And he says, "What are they watching? The Tony Awards or something like that?" I think he says.
Oh, I can't remember. I remember. Yeah, it's like
Urge to Kill.
Come sit next to Daddy in the snow and watch television. Yeah, Urge to Kill. Lessening. Rising.
Lessening. Gone. And they're frozen at the end. Urge to Kill. Rising.
I really see. This is gonna make me go and watch all these movies that these are based off of, because I've definitely seen parts of The Shining, but not all of it.
Yes, and now you should. And now you absolutely. And then you're gonna want to watch part Simpsons Dracula, because that episode is hilarious. It was so nice of Mr. Burns to invite us to his home in Pennsylvania. And everybody washed their necks, and Homer's got this big dirty rag. Yeah, and the spoof is perfect. He looks just like Gary Oldman's character from Dracula with the yo-yo and the shadows, and funny.
He does the cat's cradle in the shadows, then the yo-yo comes out.
God, and his hair is so weird. I heard that.
Yeah, that's actually good old. Well, not good old, but Simpsons old slight and then less slight homophobia. His hair is so queer. I heard that.
Right. Yep. And the secret vampire room, no garlic, and then
or when we won't find his secret room, leans on the arm, it falls down, it opens up a door to a washer and dryer.
Right. And then
that's something I would do.
And then they come back later, and Marge is walking in. This seems very dangerous. Wish we could have found a sitter for Maggie.
Yeah. Ooh, happy fun slide. No,
Dad, no, don't do it. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched that one. I watched the Shinning today. I mean,
Shinning.
I've seen them time and time over again, but sometimes you just have to go back and watch them. And the best thing about The Simpsons is that you go back and watch it, and you're like, still funny.
It's
not like I know what's gonna happen. Blah, but no, they're just
it doesn't matter
every time.
You could watch them over and over again. And that's the one too. The Dracula episode I think that's great is the line with Lisa, you and your stories. Bart's a vampire. Beer kills brain cells. Let's go back to that building thing where our beds and TV is.
Yeah, or even like just before the line we were talking about, did everyone wash their necks? Marge goes, Lisa, stop being paranoid, or like stop being suspicious. Did everyone wash their necks?
What about the doll episode where Homer buys Bart the Krusty doll, the talking Krusty doll, for his birthday?
Oh yes, of course.
Clown Without Pity is the episode. I think that's the name of it, right? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Clown Without Pity is season 3.
Yeah.
Or no, I'm sorry, season 4. It was.
I knew that was an early one.
Treehouse of Horror 3, because that always threw me off. There's multiple times.
One off.
Yeah, there's multiple times where I was like, oh, we did the table read of Treehouse 5, and it's like, no, it was Treehouse 6. Season 5.
Season 5.
Or I just got it wrong again. It was 4 and 5, or 5 and 6. I always get them switched around.
It's one behind. So season 2, right? Exactly. That's a good one where he gets the doll, and he goes to buy it from that House of Evil, and the frozen yogurt bit. You want to do the frozen yogurt one?
I actually don't remember it as well as I would like to.
I think I can do it. It's to take this doll, but it has a terrible curse, and he's that's bad. But it comes with a free frozen yogurt, which I call Frogurt. And Homer says, that's good.
Well, that's good.
It says the Frogurt. What does he say? I don't even. Oh God, no, I can't remember. It says the Frogurt is also the Frogurt's also cursed. He says, well, that's bad, but you get your choice of toppings. That's good. It's like the toppings contain something, or I don't remember. And Homer's like, can I go now?
Can I go now?
And then the doll, does all this awful stuff. And of course, they call the doll repair store, which is a thing, I guess. And the guy shows up. Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil. There's just a switch on the back of it.
Isn't it that sarcastic guy that always pops up? Hey there, Pally. Here's what's wrong here. You switched it to murder.
Yeah, right. Yeah, this doll set to evil. and then the doll just walks around. The Krusty just walks around like, getting Homer food. And he lives in the Malibu Stacy house in Lisa's room, right? Oh, man. I love it. Yeah,
I'm waiting for the Malibu Stacy movie to come out, along with
what? That's a good you know what? We need an Itchy and Scratchy movie, right? Like an actual real movie,
fantastic. Right? That would be honestly that would be
Forget the Simpsons movie too. Don't you want to be a TV show? Right? Don't you want to be a real TV show?
See,
or do you? I don't know.
Yes,
I've always
I do.
wanted it to be a real show.
But I think a movie would be better.
Yeah, that's probably more it's easier to digest just an hour and a half instead of like seasons after season after season, maybe. When
we talked to Nikki Azoria on our podcast, the animation co-producer of The Simpsons, we tried to get any kind of secret information out of her that we could.
Good luck.
And we didn't, but we did. It did seem like they might want to do a movie.
Okay.
Another one. But that was a real she was like, I think that would be cool. I was like,
we know it'd be cool. Yeah, we know that. It's just a matter of are you going to do it or not, right?
Yeah, and then also when they do the movies, it's like every single person, every writer, they all come back and write for it, and I think that adds to it. It really gives a good, new versus old kind of idea. Because the new tree houses are really good. I haven't watched the newest ones in a while, but the ones that I have seen, they're doing just as good as what they did with the Raven and the Shining, the way that they're taking something and making it Simpsons, and they're doing very well at, in my opinion. But that I don't think anything's ever going to beat the older ones just because of nostalgia, No,
it's they're that's it, right? It was the first couple ones, and that was the first time we'd seen her, and it was so great. I remember I got my hands on a VHS copy of season 1 through 4, and with no commercials. I don't know where the heck I got it, but it was one of the coolest things I owned when I was a kid, because I was so happy to have all of these things. So what are some other great ones from that early Dracula? Oh, how about the Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace, the spoof on Nightmare on Elm Street, right? With Willie as Freddy Krueger.
Yeah. Also, I saw one. I just clicked on a random one today, and it was Nightmare on Elm Tree, and it was a completely different story.
Yeah, with the trees that come to life and spray the pollen on everybody. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then he walks up to the drive-in movie theater, and they're watching Guardians of the Galaxy. And it's like, I am Groot, and everyone laughs. He's like,
Yes.
what's wrong with you making fun of laughing at a brain dead tree or a brain damaged tree?
Right.
It's like that's just funny. That like I don't know.
No, I mean that is a good one. And they try to kill him with the trees, and then they just blow the pollen all over him. Of course, at the end you're like, oh, and so it's like, I don't have my Claritin or something.
yeah. But Nightmare on Evergreen Terrace.
Yes. That one is funny because that's the one with Smarch, right? And every good Simpsons fan knows about Smarch.
Lousy Smarch weather.
We had discussed the misprinted calendars. Lousy Smarch weather. And then Willie goes and he's on fire, and he runs in the room to tell him he's on fire, and they tell Principal Skinner, Willie, wait your turn. Mr. Van Houten is speaking. And he sits down while he's on fire.
Oh, man.
Because they're talking about, like, I don't want Milhouse to have two, meatloaf dinners or something like that.
I don't like the I think the cafeteria schedule should be given to parents, because I don't like the idea of Milhouse having two spaghetti dinners in one day.
And then Willie just bursts into flames and dies. And then he comes back. And the thing I love about that episode, one of my favorite parts, is the end of it when he's in the sandbox and it does the spoof of Terminator 2. Remember what I'm talking about? When he finally dies at the end and he turns into all the different things he was. And it's just like at the end when the T-1000 in Terminator 2 melts.
Oh, yeah.
I love that part. That was my favorite part of that episode, I think. But that was a good one.
Yeah. What's the one? I have to look it up because I can't remember.
Also
exactly
the one with the Shinning, and also was that the one where Willie gets killed with an axe in his back every episode, right? Remember that?
Oh,
there's one episode.
He definitely does get killed with an axe in the back in the Shinning.
There's one season where he gets an axe in every little short, because there's 3 shorts in each episode, right?
Yeah. It could be that episode, because I was just gonna say the Nightmare Cafeteria. That's the one where they eat all the kids.
You might say we ate Ooter, and he's in our stomach right now.
Way to beat around the bush there.
Yeah. That was a good one. Sloppy Jimbos.
Yeah, or like he's like, stop. They like in the cage, and they're like, stop fussing, you'll just make yourself tired and stringy. It's like, let's check on the free range children, and it's just a little circle. They're all just running in circles outside.
Yes.
That's fantastic, because that is so true. It's like, oh, this is a free range chicken. Instead of being in a tiny cage,
it's fine.
It's a slightly bigger cage, and it's outdoors.
Don't feel bad about it. It's fine. Oh, I know one of my favorites, because I love the short story. The Devil and Homer Simpson, where he sells his soul for the donut. Remember that one?
Yeah.
That is the Devil and Daniel Webster, or the Devil and Tom Walker, whichever is a great story about selling your soul. That's an old story. I love it. But yeah, that one is hilarious, because the devil is Ned Flanders, of course, is who you least suspect. And Homer realizes, he says, if I don't finish this, I don't owe my soul to you. And he goes, well, technically, I'm smarter than you. Are not smarter than me.
Also, that's like such a memeable thing in Simpsons groups, the Flanders devil.
He's the goat.
Just him dressed as the devil is just funny. And then, of course, Sleepy Homer, donut. And also the thing is, like, he opens the fridge and he looks in. It's like
Daddy's soul donut,
a bunch of sausages, a full sandwich. He looks over like multiple food options, and then grabs this little tiny piece of donut that says, "Do not eat Daddy's soul donut."
Forbidden donut. Speaking of sandwich, do you remember the sandwich Homer found behind the couch that turned like green, and he ate it and then went to the hospital and then ate it again and went back? Do you remember that one?
It was like a hoagie, and he keeps eating it even though it's like bad. He's like, Marge, I'd like to be alone with the sandwich, please.
Yes, and he goes and he says, how can I stay mad at you? And he keeps finding it behind the couch, and he has to keep going to the ER. Not Halloween related, but God, that's funny. Yeah, he mentioned a sandwich, so I just thought I'd talk about
well,
that.
Even another sandwich thing in the Monkey Paw, the last wish, he's like, all right, Monkey Paw, I'm going to make a simple wish. I want a turkey sandwich on rye with mustard and no crazy stuff. And he names a couple different things.
No zombie turkey.
No zombie turkeys, no crazy stuff. And he eats it, and he's like, good hot mustard, good bread, turkey's a little dry. Turkey's a little dry. Why forbid you wretched thing?
Yeah, that was good. I forgot about that. Yep, the sandwich. Homer and his sandwiches. And isn't that also, speaking of things he eats in this, isn't there the one with the fly episode? Doesn't he put the transporter next to the refrigerator, right? And he accidentally goes in and drinks the cat ear medicine, and he goes, "Oh yeah, that's good."
I don't remember the cat ear medicine, but I remember him putting the transporter to
He
just so he
buys
didn't
it
have to
for
get
like
off the couch.
35 cents. 35 cents, and it only transports matter.
Actually, I forgot that I wrote like notes down about the things that I watched. And one of my favorite parts about the Bart Dracula one
yes.
is the random Charlie Brown ending where they all start singing "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," and then the dog comes in and is dancing like Snoopy, and Milhouse is playing the piano.
About that. Yes.
Oh, I saw that and I was like, oh, that's just golden.
Oh, and then speaking of, I'm going to piggyback on that one, it's the Grand Pumpkin Millhouse or whatever. Remember they do the episode of that? They spoof the Great Pumpkin?
Yeah.
And that one is hilarious because that one has Nelson, and he starts like singing a song and like Christmas carols to him. It's like, I really, really want to punch you. You're really a stupid jerk. And the pumpkin comes to life, and they have to bring like the turkey to life, and it's just like ridiculous Thanksgiving episode it ends up being, and it's like, what is going on here? Yeah,
they do actually have a good amount of Thanksgiving episodes. We did a whole episode about episodes that had to do with Thanksgiving. Obviously, not as many as Christmas.
No.
And definitely not as many as like Treehouse episodes. But
no,
they had a good a couple good ones.
They
but
do.
They did have one of the more recent seasons. They did. I don't even think it. It wasn't a Treehouse of Horror. It was a Thanksgiving of Horror, and they did 3 vignettes that were all Thanksgiving based, and the first one was the whole Simpsons family as turkeys, and they're trying to avoid getting killed by pilgrims for Thanksgiving or whatever. And the whole time, all of the Simpsons characters only speak in gobbles like turkeys.
What?
And that sounds quite annoying, but oh my goodness gracious, it was so well done. Like the emotion and like everything was portrayed just in the sound of their voice. It was fantastic. I definitely recommend going to check it out.
What season?
I think it's either got to be 30.
Wow.
2 or 31 maybe.
Right.
But yeah, the more recent ones, obviously the production value on The Simpsons has been only going up since day one. Because like if you go and watch the Treehouse 1, there's a couple scenes where you can see people's mouths moving where there's no audio or there's no dialogue. And then there's the Monkey Paw episode where Homer's like, I bought it from that stand over there, and it was just a wisp of wind. He's like, he's like, wait, no, it was over there. And then the guy's like, you'll be sorry, and he's waving, but like his mouth isn't moving at all. His mouth is just open in a big smile.
Isn't that interesting?
So all of the production value has just gone up.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
But people like to say or want to say that the writing's gone down or this or that. A lot of the voice actors, they are getting older. So if you go from season 1 to season 30, you definitely hear a big difference. But I think it's more, like I said earlier, I think it's just more the nostalgia thing. You know, you see these new episodes, you're like, oh, they're not like what I remember. But man, they're good.
Yes,
they did the Death Tome one. It was a playoff of Death Note, which I've never seen Death Note, but my friend kind of filled me in on like how straight on it was. And those were good. Trying to think of the Nightmare on Elm Tree was season 33.
Okay,
they did the Bambi parody.
Yeah, that's right. That was the open that they did for that one. Right?
Yeah. Right. And it's like,
Milhouse is one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
No. Finish that thought.
I was gonna say Milhouse's thumper. He's like, a hunter. What's that? Gets his head blown off, and then his foot starts thumping, and his whole leg gets blown off. They definitely got a lot more gory as the seasons went on.
Yes. So one of my favorites, because I love Stanley Kubrick, is A Clockwork Yellow, where they spoof a bunch of Stanley Kubrick. They spoof A Clockwork Orange, of course, and they spoof a couple of different Stanley Kubrick films. Which for me was,
that Clockwork Orange parody? Oh, that's awesome.
Fabulous. So that's like season, oh man, that's late.
That is 26.
20. Okay, so it's about 8 or so
Treehouse
years
25.
ago. There you go. Treehouse. That's right. Yeah, that is. If you have a few folks like Kubrick out there, you got to see this one. This one was really good. Really, really. I like that one a lot.
Again, I hate to admit, never seen A Clockwork Orange.
That's okay. It's not necessarily a horror film. I wouldn't call it.
Yeah. I know film. Kubrick isn't a horror person necessarily, is he?
No. The Shining was really the extent of where he went with that.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, I've always heard nothing but great things about him, but I am very antsy and super ADHD, and it gets like I don't watch a lot of movies because I just putz around and like.
Well, Kubrick's are 2.5, 3 hours long, so those are ones you're not going to want to sit for long for. So
how many big robot fight scenes are in it?
A Clockwork Orange? Yeah, none. that come to think of it, no robot. Well, there's robots in 2001: A Space Odyssey because it's all about robots technically, but no robot fight scenes. That is just not going to happen in those, unfortunately. So that
Shia LaBeouf's not in it.
No, that's not going to be for you. That's not going to be for you. What about they spoof The Ring, which is they spoof you never saw the Babadook probably then, have you? Because
no, I haven't. I've heard about it, but I haven't seen it. But I did see that episode.
They spoof the Pookadook they call it on The Simpsons. Yeah, the Babadook is a pretty good Australian horror film from a few years ago. So that was a good one they did too. I'm just trying to think of all the ones that they've done. They spoofed The Exorcist, I think. It's sort of, kind of. They did, of course, one of the early ones was the King Kong episode, right? Remember Homer's King Kong?
King Homer.
And King Homer, something like that, yeah. And that's the one with the stupid Lenny and Carl in it, and they're like, man, I wish we were going to Christmas Island. What do they got there? Apes, but they're not so big. Just random lines from this are just so great. Did they do a one with I Know What You Did Last Summer, which was like a spoof with Ned Flanders, and he's like a werewolf or something? Wasn't that one of them too, I think?
I remember the one with Ned being a werewolf, but I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah. That might have been it. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the one where they hit Flanders with the car.
When he's on his fog walk.
Yeah. Oh, I always worry about Nettie when he's on his late night fog walks.
And then Homer's trying to act like when he's the dead body. Hey, I'm on the roof here.
Oh, hey, Maud. Diddly.
And he'll drop, and she's never paying attention when he throws him off everything. Yeah, that was a good one. What about the one where Homer gets the hair transplant and it's Snake, the criminal, and he tries to kill everyone? That was pretty good. So what do you have like favorites? Do you have like a couple of favorites you can think of, or did we probably cover those already? What do you think? Ones we didn't mention?
We did mention a lot of the good ones, but I do want to say that I think the one that we were just talking about, the fog light song.
Yeah.
The reason that he hits Ned Flanders, he's like,
yes,
can't get enough of that sugar, Chris.
Homer, did you remember to put the fog lights in?
Yes, I forgot to put the fog lights in.
That was hilarious.
And then they hit Flanders, and he's like, oh no, and he looks and he's like, okay. And he's just willing. He's like, oh, it's just Flanders. Let's just leave him.
And he was talking about he was making great pace on his fog walk, he was saying too, right?
Yeah.
So you know what else is great on that? Cereal related. Here you go. Isn't there an episode? I don't know the one, but it's Moe, and he is eating penicillin O's. That was his cereal. He's eating in one of the episodes. I think it might be the one where with the Homer's got Snake's hair. That might be the one actually, because he kills everybody that framed him or whatever they say or something like that. I forget what happened, but that might have been the one. That might have been the one.
One of the greatest ones is the Night of the Dolphin.
That was so strange.
That was very, very strange, but it was fantastic.
That was pretty strange. Yeah, it was out there. Is that the one where the dolphin comes to the podium and like gives a speech in front of like the entire town? Is that the one?
Yeah, they basically they come out of the water and they enslave humankind.
Yes.
And it's like it says here, it's a parody of like the Day of the Dolphin. Never heard of it.
I've heard of it, but I've never seen it. Yeah,
but also it gives me a little bit of a reminder of Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, when the dolphins were the highest intellectual form on Earth. and they all just shot into the sky, and that's where the great line, "So long and thanks for all the fish," comes from.
Yeah.
And I knew that line, and I just say that line all the time, like randomly, like if I'm leaving, like, "All right, so long, thanks for all the fish." Just I never knew what it was from until like a couple months ago.
That's hilarious. See, they're smart. These always are spoofs. Sometimes, I always told people my whole life, The Simpsons is a cartoon, but it ain't for kids. It's not a cartoon for children necessarily. So
I feel like it was
got these great lines, right?
Yeah, I feel like it was like a kind of like the Animaniacs, where it was a show. It was a show that tried not to pull punches, and it was a show that kids can enjoy because there was funny stuff for children. But then also there's those lines where, as an adult, you're like, "Ooh, I'm glad those kids didn't get that because that is not appropriate."
Right?
The Simpsons were great at that.
Were you a fan of The Critic?
I've seen like 1 or 2 episodes. I haven't watched all of it.
That show made me laugh my ass off. I thought that show was hilarious. If you can find, it's got to be somewhere, YouTube something. That show
I'm sure it's on YouTube.
Was hilarious. It was, people hated it. They trashed it. I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. And they did a Simpsons crossover. I don't know if you ever saw that one. That was the film festival.
Yeah. Oh, so funny story about that is Matt Groening's name is not on the title credits for that episode because he was mad because he thought that the studio was just pushing this to try and get more viewers for the Critic.
Wow.
And he was so upset about it that he took his name off the credits for that episode. But there's a lot of different parts of The Simpsons where they have the Critic in it. And I think there was one there at like an insane asylum, and they walk past a room and it's just the Critic going, "It stinks. It stinks.
Yes,
it stinks." And the doctor's like, yes, everything stinks.
Dr. Hibbert, right? Oh, he's in a bunch of these episodes with the one where where Bart has the twin and they hide him in the attic, remember? It seems he has the gene for evil. Yeah, God, there are. Oh, so what about our friends Kang and Kodos that continually appear? Right, they're always in the episodes. I love the one where they are in the election and they're Bob Dole and Clinton.
It's a two-party system. You have to vote for one of us.
And I love. People are wondering why you guys are constantly holding hands. We're merely exchanging protein strands. If you have a different way of going about it, I'd like to hear. They're always in the later ones. They're always at the end of the episode, right? And they're watching another stupid Simpsons Halloween spoof or something.
Yeah. It like the first couple Treehouses always had that opening scene with Marge, saying, "Oh, this might not be appropriate for younger viewers."
Yes.
And then one time he's like,
maybe you should go watch that War of the Worlds on NPR.
Yep, she'd always say, "Don't watch it." And then Homer, I think, remember the one with the censor who gets stabbed to death, and they keep changing the rating. Do you remember that one?
No,
that was good too. That was good.
Well, they stopped doing those intros, but they would keep like the framing device. Like the first one, they were reading the stories in the treehouse. Right. The next one, I think the second one is when Marge is like, if you eat too much candy, you'll have nightmares. And they go, "Oh yeah, all the Simpsons having nightmares." And Lisa goes,
"Right,
3 bad nightmares."
Right.
And I think that was the second one. Pretty sure it was the second
or third.
But they usually had those like framing devices, and then they kind of got rid of it, and then they had like the Kang and Kodos ending, and then that would come and go. It's the same as like I didn't realize until I started this podcast that not every episode has a like a couch gag.
Yeah, that's right.
They stopped them after a while because they thought because they would keep reusing the same couch gags, like not every episode, but they would use one from a couple of years ago or whatever. And they were afraid that if someone turned on the TV and they saw that, they would think that they're watching a rerun instead of a new episode.
Yeah. Okay.
So they just completely took them out for a while, for like almost a whole season or more.
Interesting. I never really thought about that, but okay, fair enough, I guess.
I feel like that's one of the executives like, "Guys, I think, maybe we should not do this." It's like,
stop ruining our show. Yeah.
Fine, just whatever gets you to leave quickest.
Yeah, leave us alone. Let us just make our show. Let us make our hilarity. There is one in the later seasons that I love because so it's like an interlude where Vincent Price is reading all the months of the year and what Bart does or what happens during the months of the year. And what it is the artwork is like a nod to Edward Gorey. So I don't know if you know Edward Gorey. He did all this amazing like evil artwork, basically. It was very Victorian and very Edwardian. And he wrote this book, V is for whatever, and each word was for how someone died. It was terrible. It was the animation for the show Mystery on PBS. But this little thing is awesome. It's supposed to be Vincent Price reading Edward Gorey. It's a nod to him, which is fab. So read Edward Gorey's art. It's really, really good. Kang and Kodos, they were hilarious. They're always the one where doesn't one of them marry Patty and Selma and they moved to like outer space, right? I think.
Is that I just read this on I have like a list of them pulled up when Harry met Slimy.
Yes.
That's it.
Oh man,
I guess it's a parody of The Shape of Water.
I never saw The Shape of Water, which was supposed to be great.
2017 romantic fantasy film directed by
I
Guillermo del Toro.
It like won Best Picture or something, didn't it? Yeah. Oh, what about the one where Homer is in the 3D world? Remember that one?
Oh, that was a fantastic
and then
episode.
He goes into at the end. End credits. He's in like L.A. or
he's like
he's
walking
walking around.
Right down the block from like Studio City.
And he goes to the
that
cake
was fantastic. That episode cost them so much money.
It?
Yeah, they were actually thinking about
mid-90s or late 90s. They made that.
I think it was.
I don't know what season that was. Probably one of the first 10 seasons, probably, right?
Yeah, I would imagine. Let's see.
Yeah.
But so they thought about doing something like that for the movie, but then they were like, "Oh, that is way too expensive." Because like for that, like the vignettes fill in time in a 21, 25-minute episode, 22 minutes, split that in 3, and then it's like $2 million to do the 3D like engineering for that small segment of the show.
Man.
But yeah, that was very cool.
Yeah, that was awesome. And he's like, "Oh, what's going on?" He's all lost. It's hilarious.
It's like in that like 3D grid world. That kind of reminded me of like the old video games where you just like be on that like you ever play that old Sonic game? Not the original one, but the one you'd be running on like a globe and you'd have to collect all the certain colored balls. It kind of gave me that kind of vibe to it.
Okay. I love the joke, though. They totally trashed the movie where they ask everyone in the room, anyone seen that movie Tron? And everyone goes, no. And it's just like, we're just going to trash Tron so bad right here. I love that. the other two I can think of that come out to me that stick out too are the Coven, where Marge joins, is actually the witch in the Coven. They try to kill her in that episode, right? Mm-hmm. And Patty and Selma are the other ones. That's a good one. And the one where Homer is paralyzed and all he does is he can only communicate by farting.
Oh, God.
That was a good one. I also love, they don't do it extensively, and they stopped, like you said, the gags. They stopped doing it. The tombstone gags at the beginning, remember those? They'd always have the tombstones.
Yeah. I was actually just about to say they have all the iconic tombstones, and it's not only in the beginning credits; they have them in the episodes as well.
I don't know that I ever even noticed that part.
Yeah,
definitely the beginning.
In Treehouse of Horror 1, they walk down to the basement. They're like, "Oh no, it's an Indian burial ground," and it's like Hiawatha, Cochise, Sitting Bull, Pocahontas, Crazy Horse, and then Not So Crazy Horse.
Not so crazy horse.
All wait. Geronimo, Sacagawea, Tonto, and then Mahatma Gandhi.
Oh my God.
Just randomly.
Wow. So random. I remembered a line from that episode too, where he calls the guy, the realtor. "Yeah, I don't remember you telling about an Indian burial ground." He's on the phone with him. "What? Yeah. Okay." And he goes back and says he mentioned it 5 or 6 times.
Yeah. Like, "You never mentioned. Well, that's not my recollection." Okay, well, goodbye.
The tombstones, they would have like Jim Morrison, or it would say like, cultural things like, Drexel's Class was one of them, the TV shows. It would say like, Republican values or things like that. It would be like very, very timely of the year the episode was made. Those were funny.
Yeah, totally. Like the first one had Ezekiel Simpson and Ishmael Simpson. Yeah. It had Garfield. The Grateful Dead next to one that said Casper the Friendly Boy.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, those were you had to look quick because they were really, really fast.
Yeah, they were the freeze frame gags, because like you couldn't see it quick enough on TV, and you couldn't rewind or pause, so you had to go get the DVD or the VHS and then pause it to see it. And then like, I mean, like, think about the writers. They're like, why are we coming up with all this stuff? Nobody's gonna see it. And now it's like one of the greatest iconic jokes in The Simpsons.
Which goes to the other part at the end, of course, which I always love the titles that the cast and crew would give themselves, right? Those were great. So
Fantastic.
Matt Groening would always be Rat or Bat Groening. James L. Brooks, James Hell Brooks.
Yeah.
I can't remember the rest, but they always would have, Sam Sayonara Simon or something.
Yeah.
They always would be so good with those. I loved those.
They would change them sometimes every year. Sometimes they'd keep them the same. When we talked to Nikki Azordia, we asked about that because we're like, did you pick your own name? Did they give you like a list of them that you could go off of? And she's like, no, you get to pick your own. So hers were Nikki 100% that witch Azordia, and then I can't remember the second one, but yeah, she was like they just kind of come up to you and they're like, hey, we need a Treehouse of Horror name for the credits. Like,
name, right?
Yeah, you got like 2 months. Send us something. It's like, I mean, that would be so fun if you got to like. If someone came up to me and they're like, hey, congratulations, you're on the credits of the Treehouse of Horror episode. Pick your funny name.
Oh my goodness. I would have to be told. I couldn't think of one. It'd be too hard. I'd have to actually be said, hey, you're going to be on the show. So, oh man, that's great. So what did we miss? Did we forget any good? I mean, we could go forever and ever, right? But did we miss any good ones?
I mean, there's a million. I have a list of all of the different.
Oh my God.
Headstones. And like, it's the way that I thought about it was like, they're basically saying, this or this person is dead. So like the Grateful Dead is dead. Like, it's no longer popular.
Right.
Because in the 90s, when this episode came out, was probably actually right about when the Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead died.
Yeah.
So that might have been the talk of it. It was 92, but I don't know when this episode aired.
He died in like late 90s, I believe.
Paul McCartney was on there, and I don't know if you've ever heard of the conspiracy that Paul McCartney has been dead for a long time.
In the car crash, I've
exactly.
That is an interesting. That's a good one.
They had you said Jim Morrison, Bambi's mom,
Drexel's Glass. I loved the TV show. That was so random, but I loved it.
Walt Disney.
Walt Disney. There you go.
This one just says lose weight now. Ask me how. Like.
Right, they're great.
I don't think that ever died. They still have those dieting fads. Yeah, Drexel's Glass. I'm stupid.
Stupid. Good one.
Slapstick is dead.
Oh man, it was so great. That was one of my favorite things. Was looking forward to those. That was so great. That was always. So much
I
fun.
believe there was one episode, and it was Treehouse of Horror 5.
Okay.
And one of the headstones said amusing tombstones.
Amusing tombstones. Okay.
Yep. And then after that, the next Treehouse of Horror that had tombstone was 21. So from Treehouse 5 to 21, they didn't have any tombstones. So when they said that they're dead, they really meant it because they came back season or Treehouse 21, and the tombstones were a ghost and I am dead, like I.am dead.
That's
which
original.
They're not amusing because. And then the 22 had Frank Grimes, Bleeding Gums Murphy, and Maud Flanders.
Grimes, Grimy.
Yeah, Grimy, as his friends used to call him.
Homer went to his funeral and then later said, "Whatever happened to that guy?" Oh man. Well, like I said, I could go on forever and ever, but they see all good things.
Oh, it's so easy. There's 700 episodes of The Simpsons, and 32 or 34.
All good things must come to an end. But the good thing is we have season 35 episode to look forward to, hopefully, right, coming in October. So
and it does say what the episodes are based off of. It doesn't give the episode titles, but the first of the 3 vignettes for the season 35 is something off of Black Mirror's Bandersnatch.
Interesting.
The second one is Silence of the Lambs.
Oh,
yeah,
that could be great.
And then the third one is Turning Red, which is a Disney movie.
Well, Disney owns them, right? So
it was a movie about a girl that turned into a giant red panda. So I could see how that could get pretty gory.
Don't know this film. Okay. Well, you know what? that's a great teaser to let us know, to get us into this and get us ready. So now I'm excited for this.
Yes.
So Johnny, thank you for being on. Again, this could have been a 17-hour episode, but we're going to cap it here. Ladies and gentlemen, he's Johnny Pechous, and he has the D'oh. Tell us, where can people find the D'oh Show? Where can they find out more about what you're doing?
So we did this very much on purpose. We researched the name of our podcast before we made it the name of our podcast. So all you have to do is just go and Google the D'oh Show, DOHSHOW, and you'll find it. We got Instagram is probably the best place because we do most stuff on there. And then if you want to listen to the show, to the best of my knowledge, it's available everywhere you can listen to podcasts. If you find a source and you can't find us on it, please let me know. Also, I don't know where you're listening to podcasts, if it's that obscure. But yeah, we're on Spotify, iTunes.
Nice.
iHeartRadio, all of it. It's all over the place.
And my suggestion is, you guys, I listened to an episode, it was great. They did a table read of which Treehouse of Horror did you guys do?
It was the one with the Shinning.
Was the
Treehouse?
Okay. 5?
Yeah,
6?
Treehouse 5.
Okay. So go listen to that, guys. It's actually hilarious. I listened to it and was laughing in my car the entire time. So go and listen. But yeah, so anyway, you guys know where to find us, of course. Find us, our website, scarymovieproject.com. Email us at thescarymovieproject.com. gmail.com, of course. Send us more Simpsons hilarity. What episodes did we miss? What do we need to keep talking about? What movies do we need to review? You guys know to find us on Instagram and Facebook and all those good places too. So, but for now, we're going to wrap it up. And thanks for coming, and thank you for all the fish.
So long, and thanks for all the fish.
The Scary Movie Project podcast. Learn more at thescarymovieproject.com.